welcome to another episode of Red Lotus Life. This one is a fun one today because we're going to be talking about holding wealth in the physical body and what it actually means to actually hold wealth in the physical body. It's something that is very alive for us right now as we are integrating our own spiral journeys from last year. So, Sara, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm making it. Making it like wading through the expansion. And I really do love this topic because it is so alive with for us right now. And I will even share that my intention for my spiral journey was literally to be able to hold wealth in all five bodies. So here we are getting ready to start, really integrating the physical body, and I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. What about you?
Yeah, I'm totally feeling it too, which is why we're making this change. We're going to be doing a new series in Say Yes to Soul, which is going to be amazing. And because in Say Yes to Soul, we literally do the work right with everybody. And we're seeing that there's a theme, right? The theme is not enough money, worthiness, money stories, like all this stuff. It's been going on for what, at least 6 months, I
At
would say.
least. Hmm.
Yeah. So we're going to change it up. We're going to shift it up, and we are going to actually integrate these five bodies and holding wealth in all ways. So, you know, the thing I think this is why I'm excited about it because what most people talk about wealth and like creating wealth, and it's all about mindset, right?
Hmm.
Like it's all about mindset. And if you think positive and you vision and you visualize and you get clear on what you want, like it's all mental body stuff. But this is a little different as we've been journeying with this thought process and preparing, like, we kind of knew a change was coming, but we weren't quite sure what it would be. And so as we've been like navigating these waters and realizing what we're moving through, it really is about it starts with the physical body. And it's about the physical body being safe enough to hold more. And that the
Hmm.
mind might want more, but the body actually resists.
The body does resist. And we see this, show up with people, just for an example. And this has been in my field a lot because we are focused on it. But we see these people who come into wealth or they're generating a lot of wealth. And then they all of a sudden lose it, or their health begins to decline, or there's some aspect of losing what they have received because they haven't been able to actually integrate their capacity to receive, the capacity to hold more. And so that shows up in the physical body in a lot of different ways. And I know we're going to be talking about those things. So, yeah, feeling that. I'm feeling
Mhm.
that. Um, I'll share that it's fascinating because not only are we feeling the resistance in the body as we move through the expansion, but there may be things like karmic things that come up, ancestral, if we've had ancestors that have been in survival and that kind of thing. And it's just like, yes, we need to be able to hold wealth in all five bodies in order to be able to actually receive it. Not just receive it, but just to hold on to it.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? It's the capacity to be able to hold on to it. It's not about generating it. It's holding it and
Yes.
holding wealth in all areas of our life. Because yeah, we all know somebody or anybody, right, that can generate wealth really fast, really quickly, really well. But then just like what you said, now you start to see like health decline or, just other things happen where they're not actually able to hold it in all areas. And then you literally see them lose it financially as well.
Yeah. So it even goes back to like just for an example, we can talk about somebody who has won the lottery, right? But they have never had that amount of money. Nobody in their family has ever had that amount of money. Like the mental capacity is not going to be there, much less the capacity of the physical body. And so that's when you see them just burning through it, not saving, Um, Again, the health declines and different things like that. So we just really want to be integrated in those five bodies
I
because
know.
we are in this expansion, both in our own lives as well as in, where Red Lotus Life is concerned. So
Mhm.
yeah, just feeling that.
I know. We've been feeling it, like the density, right? It's the density of the physical body.
Mhm.
We can do the clearing stuff all day long, but it's the integrating part that
Yes.
actually is what's so important. So let's talk about what we mean by wealth. So when we're talking wealth, we're not just talking money, right? We're talking money, resources, support,
Mhm.
freedom. Um, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that goes into the like wealth. This is like rest too. I mean, I know that we've been talking a lot about that, going, wow, we have so much momentum going with Red Lotus Life right now because we are integrating in all these places. But we're also going, man, where do we rest? Right? We're starting to feel it.
Yeah, it can cause when you are in a space of generating, then we get to these places of the overwhelm and the exhaustion or the collapse that can happen. And so when we're talking about the physical body and wealth, this is actually our health that we're talking about. So what do we need to do in order to integrate the physical body so that we are actually healthy, so that we can hold that capacity?
Hmm. I like that you brought up the lottery, like winning the lottery, because that's like the perfect example, right?
Yeah.
There's so many documentaries and things out there where they're like, where are they now? They're like right where they were, right back where they were when they won the lottery. And it was because it just all slipped right through their fingers, right?
Hmm.
So, what we're going to be talking about today is this capacity to hold wealth, the capacity to to receive it, to hold it, and then also to circulate it so that it also, you're circulating it, you're spending it, whatever it might be, and also it's coming back. The circulation, the flow is there.
Yeah, and that's where we get to also be of service. That the
Mhm.
more wealth that we have, the more capacity have that we have, the more places and opportunities that we have in order to be of service in a bigger way that actually creates more impact.
Mhm.
Um,
I remember when I was first starting to work on my money story, that was a thing because I wasn't raised around money. I didn't really have that. We were actually pretty poor growing up. And I remember when I first started this, and you and we were actually in a group together. And the mentor there started asking, I don't know if this was on like a call that we had together or not, but she started to tell me, she's like, Lori, you have this huge impact you want to make. And I'm like, yeah, I do. And she started to actually get me to not compare myself, but bring in like Mother Teresa, right? She brought in Mother Teresa and she said, let's talk about Mother Teresa. What kind of impact did she have on the world? And I'm like, oh my gosh, huge, like huge impact. She literally changed the world, you know? She
mhm,
traveled everywhere. She was so, um, she was able to create great change and be a huge support, right, to all these different places in the world. And she said, yeah, but how do you think she did that? And I was like, I don't know. She just had a ton of resources, I guess. And then she's like, yeah, and one of those resources, like, how do you think she had the money to do that, to travel to the places, to get the medicine to the people, to da 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 da, like all the things, have the team, she goes, do you think that was all just volunteer? And I was like, well, yeah, like I totally was thinking service oriented, right? And thinking it was just volunteer and just donations and whatever. And she said, Mother Teresa, and no one quote me on this because I haven't fact checked it. This is just what was told to me to get me to shift into a different perspective, right? Of like, she said, well, Mother Teresa had one of the largest enterprises in the world so that she could actually, she said it was a business so that she could actually do the work and create the impact and blah, blah, blah. Now, if that was a nonprofit or for profit, I'm not exactly sure. Don't really know about all that stuff. But the perspective in that moment of going, oh my gosh,
mhm,
we need resources. We need money to do the things that we want to do, the impact we want to create, you know, all of
mhm.
that. All of a sudden, I went, oh my gosh. And then now there's this whole avenue of thought process that was opened up for me because I had no idea that I had a limiting belief there. So then she started to say, look at your bank account and what's in your bank account. And since we're talking financial wealth, obviously, is all things. We'll get into that more. But she's like, look at your bank account because the more your bank account, the more money your bank account has in it in your business, the more people you're able to help, the bigger the impact. She's like, so that's kind of what, anyway, that was the very first time that I literally started to go, oh, that was a total limiting belief of I don't need money.
Yes, it was a total limiting belief. And I remember that entire thought process and even probably portions of that conversation. And so, what I think is, excuse me, what I think is really cool about it is that she had the capacity to receive. She had to have
Yeah.
the capacity in the physical body, in all the bodies, really, in this case, to be able to receive in order to create that impact. So I would love to know what what are your thoughts around being able to receive in order to have or having the capacity to be able to receive?
Well, she was a great example because not only did she have the ability to receive, but she was able to hold it, right? So she was able to receive it in whatever way that looked like. Who knows what that looked like? She was able to receive it, she was able to hold it, and then she circulated it back out. And so
Hmm.
she was an actual great example of exactly what we're going to be doing in Say Yes to Soul.
I know, I'm really excited about it. I love this shift and pivot. What would you like to share more about what we're doing in Say Yes to Soul?
I think let's talk about the five bodies. So we're doing this new series. We're doing the new series on the five bodies. So we have the five bodies, right? Physical,
Hmm.
mental, emotional, energetic, and spiritual. Okay. We're going to start with the physical body because I mean, we have to go with the dense first. We have to go with that one. So, um, we're not really going to talk about like the other bodies right now because we're not doing that, but we're getting ready to do this clear where we're going to be clearing the limiting beliefs that's keeping us from having that ability, right? To
Hmm.
hold wealth, not receive. Well, it receiving is part of it, not generate. That's actually what I meant, right?
Right.
Like not generating, but being able to receive it, hold it, and then circulate it. So, what about the physical? Let's go into the physical body part, like what that actually is because it's a lot of things. A lot of times people think it's just the physical body, just the muscular, like the bones, the muscles, all of those things. But
Hmm.
let's go into more about what exactly the physical body is because it's so much more than that.
It is so much more than that. When you really think about the physical body and what, excuse me, um, what it needs to be able to hold the capacity to receive wealth, to hold wealth, we're really looking at the actual parts of the physical body all the way down to the DNA. So we're also looking at our bones, like where is their conditioning from our ancestors that's held in our bones or held in our DNA. So it can be all the way down to that micro level as much as it is, just the physical health of your muscles or every single part of your body.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally the work we do, right? With the spiral, it goes
Yeah.
down to that like literal, like what's being held in our cells, what's being held in our DNA.
Hmm.
But I love this too because it's layered, right? So the physical body doesn't necessarily just mean this and on, what we're holding here, but it literally is like the 3D world. So it's the physical plane too, which I think is
Yes.
super cool. So it's like our home, it's like the money, it's our schedule, it's all these things, like even like the physical environment. It's literally like what is happening in this 3D plane. That is that's what we're going to be working with. So not only the physical body like this, but
Yes.
also also this physical plane.
Yeah, and I think that the physical plane, even to some extent, can include like organization and structure, right? So those are things that I'm definitely feeling resistance in the physical body towards is like the capacity to hold more, like stretching myself to have to become more organized because the expansion is happening. And, with every expansion, it's that next level of structure and organization. And my physical body has really been in resistance to that. I will admit it.
I know it's so funny because as we've been talking about it, right? We just keep talking about it, and I'm like, gosh, if we're so busy now, this is where I really started to think, oh my gosh, we need to do this work and say yes to soul,
Yeah.
because um, I was like, if we're so busy now, if the schedule is so packed and we're so busy right now, and we don't have time for to do the things that we love and socialize and family time and all that, it's like, do how can we possibly reach the goals that we want to reach, that we're actively reaching? It's really cool, everyone. Like it's so cool because we're literally killing our goals. We set
Mhm.
up goals every quarter and we're killing it. And we were just, it feels good. There's like momentum there. But also going, ooh, the restriction, right? Of like, how can we even possibly put anything more here? And it's
Right.
like, okay, so we have to be able to receive. We have to be able to be in a place where we actually can receive more of what it is that we want, because we have high aspirations, everyone. Like we have
Mhm.
extremely high aspirations and a huge impact that we want to make. So this is like the perfect thing to start stepping into.
It really is. And I love that we even have the awareness that this is what's actually happening, right? Because even though the expansion can feel hard where certain things have to be implemented and put into place, because we do this work on a regular basis, we have the awareness that, hey, we're feeling this resistance in the physical body, and we're able to use our tools and come back to alignment even if it feels hard in that moment, we know what's happening.
Yeah. We can literally first we feel it, right? We feel
Yes.
it. We feel the constriction in the body, but we can literally see like how we are stopping ourselves. How can we
Hmm.
possibly reach what we want to reach if we don't have the capacity to hold that? It's
Yep.
like mind blowing when we start to have that in our awareness.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, how has that shown up for you recently?
It's, gosh, a ton. I'm like, a ton. Just even saying that and just going, how can we, like, where can we fit this in? We keep talking about how do we simplify? How do we become more efficient? And now going, okay, well, this is actually what wealth is, right? The wealth is like the physical body, the physical plane, being able to hold it. It
Hmm.
literally is the actions that make wealth real in our daily life. And so, if we want to bring this into fruition, we want to create this vision and manifest it into this physical plane, then our
Hmm.
actions have to be different.
Yeah, the actions have to be different, or we have to be taking care of our health. We have to be taking care of the physical body. We have to be like the self-care is like a non-negotiable, right? The
Yeah.
things that the things that are going to fill our cup and so that we can create an impact, that we can be in service, those things have to be tended to. And with that comes the organization, the structure, and just even outside of the business aspect of things, we have to have organization and structure to be able to implement taking care of the physical body.
This totally goes into level 4 of the spiral. And
Yeah.
it's so funny because level 4 of the spiral has some of that in it, right? It's all about like openness and everything else, but the other part is organization and structure. And what I
Yeah.
love about that part of level 4 is it literally is a representation of like your self-love, your self-respect, all of those things. If we have structure and organization in place, then we have a life of flow, right? And this
Hmm.
like um I don't know. This is just actually where we get to create, right? Whenever we do that. So it's funny that we, and I say we, meaning like the collective. There's
Hmm.
always this like resistance of like, oh, I don't want more structure. I want to be free. Like, but
Yeah.
the structure is actually what creates the freedom.
Yes. It truly is. It truly is. And I see that more and more every single day. And I have learned, and Lori has definitely witnessed my journey with this, but I have learned that I used to think that I didn't like structure, but now I realize that I like the structure so that I can move within the structure, like, the flow within the structure. Because I definitely, like my whole body constricts when I think about more structure. So,
I know, but it's cool because you have the freedom within the structure. It
yes,
has been cool to see you in that.
yeah.
Because once you do have the structure, then you're like, oh, I have to just share this really quick. This is something. So I'm gonna bring my sister into this, even though she has no idea she's coming into this conversation. But I'm gonna bring her into this because I am somebody that like our schedules are dynamic. We have such a packed schedule all the time. We love what we do, so we're constantly like doing the thing, right?
Mhm.
So it's funny because anytime that we have like family responsibilities, like just taking care of like family properties or like family members or something like that, I'm always asking her, can we create a schedule? She likes we tag team these responsibilities a lot because we're local. And so it's funny because I'm always like, okay, yeah, I am totally down for that. But can we create a schedule? Like I say that. And she's always like, no, because she's very like free spirited and just like, no, I just want to do my own thing. In fact, she reminds me a lot of you. Just want to do my own thing and just be, do my thing and da da da. It'll get done. It'll get done. It doesn't need to be on a structure, on a timeline, whatever. And I've been asking her to do this for years. Okay. I'm talking years. You know what happened the other day?
What?
She goes, Lori, so now she's taking care of other family members that are part of, her significant others. And she's like, they asked me to be on a schedule. And I was like, okay. Like she respected the person who was needing the help, the family member that was needing the help. Family member said, hey, can we have a schedule so that I can know when to expect you and stuff instead of her just showing up or whatever, right? And she was like, "Ooh, didn't want to do that." And she goes, "But guess what?" She goes, "I owe you an apology." And I said, "Why?" And she goes, "Because my life is so much better now." She said everything about my life. So she goes, it's only like I was showing up all the time because it was taking up space. This family member has fallen ill. And so she's been there as a caretaker. And she's like, yeah, it was like always on my mind. How can I fit it in? I could do this, I could do that, da da da. And finally the family member was like, hey, listen, I like my alone time. And I like to just kind of, and so can we have a time period of where you're like, I really just need your help once a week. So my sister was like, oh my gosh, that actually freed up so much because I was thinking I needed to be there like pretty frequently, right? And then
Hmm.
when she finally heard the needs and went, oh, so now she's only there a couple hours a week. Everything's working out for the family member right now and for her. And she said, I can't even tell you, now I have time for me. She's like, I have time for me where before I had zero time for myself. So
Yay,
this
I
is an
love that.
example, right? Yeah, like the
Yeah.
wealth, right? The wealth is happening where she said, wow, this is crazy. I am being of service and I have time for me, the self-care.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that she came back and apologized and now she's like, "Oh, thank you, Lori." Excuse me, so much wealth and expansion.
I will say we have yet to create a schedule for our family stuff, but at least she's on board, right? At least she's on board and it'll be fun. I'm excited.
Yeah, I love it. And I think that the thing that I find the most is that by having a little more structure and organization, it prevents you from like future tripping, which is another part of this aspect of being able to hold wealth in the physical body because it takes up so much energy, right? When you know that things are going to happen at these times, and yes, I also need to schedule in, for my stillness and practices and stuff like that, but you spend a lot less time in the mental body when the organization and structure of the physical plane is in place.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So let's talk more about why the body matters so much.
Okay.
Why are we going to be focused on the physical body? I mean, we've been talking a little bit about it, about how like our body really literally shows our true capacity. Um, and also, the body remembers survival. Like, it remembers all the trauma, all the stuff. So just like what we were talking about on a cellular level, we're going to be working with this and say yes to soul, DNA level, ancestral level.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, why does this physical body matter?
I mean, the most logical answer is going to be health, right? Because we can't operate and have the capacity to hold wealth if we aren't healthy. Um, Not only that, but I'm probably getting ready to go down a completely different train of thought, but I'll just say it like we want to be able to be presentable, when we're of service, we want to be, at least for me, like that's important. I want to be presentable when I show up on Zoom or when I show up for an event or anything like that. Um, Not perfect by any means, but I would like to feel good, right, in my physical body. And so presentation is part of that. I
Mhm.
don't know. What are your thoughts on that part?
Oh my gosh, so many, so many. So yeah, like presentation, right? Let's talk about we're talking physical health and appearance and all of that. But when we
Mhm,
start to release from a physical level, from that DNA level, right? We're starting to release, we're lifting the density, right? We're starting
mhm,
to like if we're like feeling heavy and we're feeling like all those lower vibrational emotions, well now, I mean, this is literally the spiral. The creator of the spiral always says that the whole point of it is to literally raise the consciousness of the planet,
mhm,
starting with the physical body. When we start to release these low vibrational emotions, right, that are on the scale of consciousness, it's like now we start to vibrate at a different level. We start to glow at a different level. We're radiating. We're
mhm.
healthy. Our transmission goes out in ways like energetic and everything else, kind of like we'll get into that too. I'm so excited we're doing this series. But it's like whenever that happens, it's like now we are magnetic, right? And then everything starts to align. And this is for everybody. It's literally for everybody. There's so much more that goes into this besides the vanity part of it, right? Like it's not
Right,
even vanity. Like some people
right.
might go, "Oh, this is vanity." No, it's not.
It's
It's
not.
talking about structure, even with the like posture and everything else, and being healthy, having the
Hmm.
ability and the capability to even do the work that we're all so passionate about, right? If we
Hmm.
can't do that, if we can't maintain this, I mean, that's the first thing, right? Every single
Yeah.
time. The second that we don't have, that's why they say health is wealth. The second we don't have our health, how could we, like, we, everything stops.
Yeah, it does. Everything does stop. And I love that you were talking about it as far as the scale of consciousness and the densities that we feel in our body, because this is when we start to feel the constriction and the expansion is when like that next layer of density comes up to actually be released and cleared. And I have been feeling that for sure. Um, and so it's kind of like, okay, what do we need to do in order to go ahead and help those densities and those frequencies that we don't want to be in those vibrations, right? In those lower densities and frequencies. And so now we have to, go in and see what do we need to clear. So in the case of say it's the soul, what is it that we need to clear in order to remove that next level of density so that we
Mhm.
can continue to expand. And that's another thing about wealth consciousness is like it has to happen in increments, but you have to keep doing the work.
Mhm. This is literally why people start to lose weight. I mean, with all kinds of modalities, right?
Yeah.
With all kinds of modalities, but especially with the spiral. Whenever we're doing the work with the spiral, we start to shed weight really quickly. And it's
Mhm.
because, I mean, we literally, there's even, I know we're talking about Sayas to Soul right now, but there's levels in the spiral where you literally see your weight start to shift and change and like where you may have been holding on to things starts to actually release. And that is
Mhm.
actually, I'm like, we actually just talked about this with somebody who's in a spiritual space right now. And she was talking about that. She's like, wow, the purity that I'm experiencing with everything that she's been experiencing has been amazing. I'm like, there's so much to this, actually. We could go down like a million different rabbit holes.
We
But let's
totally
talk about how the body remembers survival.
can.
Like where is it like so basically talking about this because wealth has to feel safe enough to land physically. So now we're going to start getting into like the signs of it, right? Like let's talk about survival, how the body holds on to survival, and then we'll go into the signs that the body might be resisting wealth.
Well, I think the biggest way that the body holds on to survival is memory, right? And where are those memories held? They're held in our cells, in our DNA. It's all on a cellular level. And especially when we are working on clearing and releasing things that we don't even know exist because it came with our ancestors, right? And so for me, that's where it really starts is
Mhm.
on a DNA level.
Yeah. Are you okay if I give a quick example of what that might look like for anyone who might be new to this
Yeah,
type of work?
yeah,
Okay.
please, please.
Okay, so for me, I've been integrating the spiral, my own spiral journey, the last one. And it was all about wealth wounds, all of
Hmm.
it. And it had to do specifically of when Hawaii became a state and all of that. So as I've been diving deeper into that, learning more about my family history, my ancestry, like I knew some of my family members had actually been in the internment camps, but I didn't know like the details of it all. So I've been actually diving deep into all the history of all of that, all the facts and everything else. Crazy what has happened because that's why I'm so excited to like go into Say Yes to Soul, go deeper. So crazy, there's a financial pattern that has been happening. And the financial pattern is building wealth and then it getting taken away
Hmm.
or walking away, right? It either looks like getting taken away or walking away from it. Okay,
Hmm.
so that's the pattern I've started to uncover in my own lineage and my own ancestry. And I literally watched, like if I sat here and I look at the timeline and I go through each generation, literally, I'm seeing the generation before me. I see what they've done. I see what I have done, how I have walked away over and over and over again. And then I'm actually seeing it in the generations after me. And so that has blown my mind because everything that we're working with here with Spiral is unconscious. That's why it's so cool. It's unconscious. It's not that, like, yeah, we can work on stuff that we know about all day, every day, but it's the unconscious mind that actually runs the show in our lives. And so
Hmm.
when we're able to bring this up, just like what you were saying, we don't know what there is to clear. That's what's cool about these clearing sessions. We don't know. And so now we get to see, like, oh, wow, this was the limiting belief that's been holding us back this whole time. Like, this is crazy.
No, it is crazy. And so this is where we talk about clearing and that we are getting to the root of the issue. So we might know that there's generational and ancestral trauma and survival around what's being held in the physical body. But when we're able to actually get to the root of what is in the unconscious awareness, that's when we see the shift. It never
Mhm.
is about what we think it's going to be about. And I know Lori and I have talked about that quite a bit. So it's always fascinating to me what when we find out what the clear is when that's revealed. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what that looks like when we bring the unconscious into the conscious, it's like now I have that pattern in my awareness. I'm not walking away anymore.
Yep.
Like that's kind of what this work does, right? So yeah, yep, yes
Hmm.
to all of this. Okay, so let's go into signs. What are some signs that the body, like that shows us the body is resisting well?
Okay, so for me, and I've already shared this during this filming, like we're feeling the densities. We feel the density of those frequencies, especially, I feel like I'm feeling them as they're being released, right? But I think this is where health in the physical body actually comes into play is when we're not clearing those dense energies. Then this is when the body starts to feel heavy. We're not feeling the lightness. We're not, like we might feel sluggish. We might feel that overwhelm, the exhaustion in the physical body. All of those things are signs. What are some
Hmm.
things that you notice?
I notice tension. Like I'll
Mm-hmm.
feel it like in my jaw. So I've really been working on going, okay, where like I will just kind of massage this throughout the day as I'm
Mm-hmm.
working because I like to overwork. That's not good. Like that is not good. That's actually a sign. Overworking is a sign of
Mm-hmm.
resistance. Okay. And so I'll start to notice the tension, like tension in my body. One of the things as we were preparing for this that I really noticed was urgency. I have this urgency in everything that I do. Like I literally, it feels like I don't have enough. Um, like I have to consciously think, enjoy this moment. I know we
Mm-hmm.
talk about it a lot. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's why I think I always talk about finding the beauty and the magic in the moment, because that is something that I literally have to consciously do to slow down. I know that that actually is my survival mode kicking in, that's just running on repeat or in the background, just on a
Mm-hmm.
different level. And I have to literally go, okay, we're at the next level now. So I need to just like everything's fine. I'm safe. I am safe, taken care of. I am nourished. There's no reason to be in survival mode right now. But I noticed that because as we're preparing for our clears, I will always kind of just allow my autopilot stuff to go because I
Mm-hmm.
want that to be cleared. And
Right.
so I'll let that go and just kind of observe. I take like the back seat and just kind of observe what is my autopilot program doing right now. And I noticed that this morning, like literally everything I was doing felt urgent, even though I had tons of time. I
Yeah,
was kind of rushing. Mhm.
how do you shift that for yourself?
Oh, it's getting into the body. That's why I'm so excited about this because that was more energetic. Like I was more in the energetic body with energy running just through me and just kind of like I was in flight mode. Like
Mm,
urgency is flight mode because you're
yeah.
wanting to like pick up the pace or whatever, right? And so I was that and I had to just be like, okay, get back into the body, talking to the body, all of these things. Or do you need to be rushing right now? No, no, you don't. You have plenty of time. And it's crazy what happens. Now all of a sudden you're enjoying the moment, you're present instead of doing the future tripping stuff that you talked about.
Yes, that's what I was going to bring it back around to, that future tripping. And then also what happens is when we're able to slow down and be in that pause, we actually are able to get more done. We're more productive in that space. Because I resonate with that urgency as well. And actually, the urgency creates so much that it has in the past. I've gotten a lot better at this. But I would feel that urgency, and it takes up so much energy that it actually will it exhaust you. And it is the
Mm,
future tripping and trying to think ahead. But when you can
yeah.
slow down and pause and create more space, then it's like, oh,
Hmm.
I can just breathe right here. I can get so much more done. And that's one of
Yeah.
the things that I'm learning is that I can actually get a lot more done in a single stretch of time than I ever could have before because we are now doing this embodiment work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The efficiency actually
Yes.
kind of gets put into play, right?
Hmm.
And then there's huge intention with that. I'm glad that you resonated with that too, because I think that's something that probably a lot of our audience and I know the members of Say Yes to Soul do as well, because what that turns into is like anxiety,
Hmm.
overwhelm, and then the whole shutdown happens. When you're talking exhaustion, that's the adrenal
Hmm.
problems and issues that we start to run into, like not getting the sleep. I mean, all of these things. Um, we already talked about the overworking, but I want to talk about now about this guilt around receiving, because that is
Mm,
one of the things that is huge too with the physical body. You can literally feel it um, here.
yeah, you can. And this was something that actually just recently came up for us in another space that I was just sharing with Lori this morning, and I think she has something she can add to the conversation here as well. But I actually remember the exact imprint, at least one of the earliest imprints for me where it was directly around receiving and like compliments and not being able to receive compliments, which until we started doing this work, but it's still hard for me, right? It's still hard for me, but it was something that's been in my awareness for long enough that I'm getting so much better. But it was not a compliment, but a comment by a family member, probably very well meaning, right? It was very well meaning, but the implication was that now I don't have the capacity to receive. And it was something really simple. I was a young girl and I was told, I mean, really young, like maybe five, probably about 5 years old. And I was told that if I receive a compliment, I'm not to do anything but smile and say thank you.
Hmm.
And so it kind of like tames that, oh my gosh, thank you. I so appreciate you and all of that. No, you're not doing that anymore. It's just, oh, thank you. And so then you can see how that snowballs, snowballs into, your adulthood even, and you're sitting there unable to receive. You don't even know what words to say in order
Hmm.
to express the gratitude, right?
Hmm.
Until we learn.
Hmm. Yeah, I think, it was cool to watch you actually go through that, because you literally like, okay, thank you. And you're all like timid and everything or whatever, right?
Hmm.
Um, so I know what you're talking about. Same. We actually, this was a Lunar Journeys conversation. So for
It
anyone
was.
who's in Lunar Journeys, you'll recognize this conversation. But the work that we were doing, that we're currently doing in there, actually got me contemplating around, um, was I encouraged, what was modeled for me, or not even modeled, that's a whole different thing, but on literally, like, was I encouraged to like myself? Was I encouraged and taught to love myself? And that was non-existent. That it like literally, and then I started, so this is generational what we're talking about too. So then I started thinking, well, have I taught my own children that? Like I've taught them um confidence and you can do anything, all of that, which I was too. But have I actually encouraged them to like themselves, to love themselves for that self-esteem? And this right here is exactly what we're talking about with physical body. It really is this ability to receive on such a root level, right? We go straight to the root and we're like, oh, what was that? Like how has this prevented me? And I can see the same patterns happening with them too. And so for me, it translates into support. I will tell you that right now, like for me to receive anything, but it's really hard for me to, I just think I'm independent. I can do it all. It's fine, all of that. But this totally limits my capacity to build wealth. 100%. And then my martyr starts to come in, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
But especially if someone's busy and they're like, "Oh, can I help you?" I'm like, "Oh, there's that guilt around. Like, I don't want it. I don't want to feel that guilt to receive in any way."
Yeah, there's guilt, and that's part of the capacity, right? Because what happens as soon as you are being offered support, then you feel guilty, you feel shame, and then you go and offer support just in order to, I guess it becomes a coping mechanism, right?
Totally. It's a total coping mechanism
hmm Yeah, it totally is.
because you feel guilty. So now you're the one. Can I help you? Can I help you with something?
hmm hmm
I actually have I have so many stories about that because that's literally my MO.
hmm
Like I feel I'm the one that I could use some support. Somebody asks me, and now I'm supporting somebody else. And and then that's where we have the collapse, right? So now we're talking about the collapse and the exhaustion and everything else because we're supporting other people because we can't receive support ourselves or ask for it, let alone
hmm
receive it, right?
hmm
Okay. I wanted to also talk about, because this is so alive. I don't know how long we've been going, but this is so alive for a lot of people. And it's especially when it comes to wealth and building wealth, the wealth consciousness. But it's the fear of rest. So there's three things here: the fear of rest, the fear of visibility, and the fear of more responsibility. Because when we have wealth, right, it's like a lot of people are chasing wealth. Like we're ingrained, right? It's like always that is the one thing, right? You always want like more, especially when it comes to financial wealth. We're talking about wealth in all areas, but let's talk about like the fear of like chasing the wealth, right? To have enough to retire or whatever, right? Have enough money for your whole life. So there's this fear of rest and always being chasing that and that pressure to do so. But with that, like let's say fame, success, whatever, there's this visibility thing, right? Like now all of a sudden, oh, even if you're a successful business or if you're successful in anything that you do, with your natural gifts, whatever that might be, there is visibility that comes with that, which is really cool. I love that. But I am feeling all of these things. The other thing that comes with this is also the responsibility, right? There's a
hmm
lot of responsibility that actually comes with wealth in all areas of your life. So I'd like to touch on this real quick.
There is a lot of responsibility, and this even goes all the way back to the structure and organization in order to be able to expand. So just starting there, but then it's the responsibility of those who you're of service to. Like you have some level of responsibility, and so it goes back to that support again, which is already a coping mechanism. So now, what do you do in order to use discernment, right? And and allow other people to hold themselves. That's a big, huge part of accountability. There's always times when people truly do need support, but at the same time, how do we encourage others to be able to help themselves to some extent, you know?
Mhm. Yeah, we could tie this back into like all the stuff, right? Even like the
Yeah.
lottery winner, right? Or let's say you come into a big inheritance
hmm
and now all of a sudden you're like, what do I do with all this? There's so much responsibility, assets and stuff,
Yeah.
whatever. Like I've seen, and then people just freak out and then they don't do anything. They go into a freeze state or they go
Mm.
into a spending state, right? Which would be like, that's usually like, gosh, there's a lot of fawning that actually happens in those situations and stuff too. All right, so now here we are. We're talking about generating money from survival. There's a lot of people that I think will resonate with this too. It's that whole thing about generating versus holding the wealth. Um, when we're talking about this, holding the wealth means receiving more and not abandoning self. So a lot of people can generate, like we know the people who are like, oh yeah, like I totally thrive in the crunch zone. Am I going to make enough money this month? Like especially if someone's in sales, right? They're like, oh yeah, I'm in the I thrive in this like survival part of things, and they can generate it, and every time they can generate that, and some actually even enjoy it because it's
Hmm.
like that adrenaline rush and everything else. But here we're talking about holding wealth with capacity, like it literally requires it to hold it. So I'd love to hear more about what that actually means to you to hold it without abandoning yourself.
Well, I think it just goes back to everything that we've been talking about. It goes back to the coping mechanisms around support. If we abandon ourselves because we're now supporting others when we should be within the structure and organization, then we're now there's a decline in the health, there's a decline in our like our overall wealth, right? And so like it's like a domino effect in every single area. So I think that capacity to hold wealth, it just has to be so um there has to be a lot of awareness around every single aspect. And I think that when we start to abandon ourselves, that shows up as a multitude of different ways to self-sabotage, right? There's a multitude of different ways that we can, um, it can even go back to like, I think you and I have both even said this in the expansion process. Like, is it even worth it? Like, why are we doing this anyway? That literally is that, right?
Yeah. What's
It's
cool?
so it's
Oh,
like you feel that constriction and it's like, do I even want to do this? And then you have to like push through it, release that density, and then it's all of a sudden like you're on the other side of that and you're in that lightness again.
yeah. That's literally the self-sabotage. That's the resistance, right? Of
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
not even going to do this anymore.
yeah, exactly.
You know what's really cool about this, though? So we're going to be doing the clear. We're going to be doing it. I can't remember the exact date, but basically in July, we're starting this series. So we're going to be doing the clear here. What's cool about this is that we actually already have this innate wisdom. We have the ability to hold wealth. This is our birthright. It's what we were born with, is this ability to hold wealth in all areas of our life. And it's been all of this conditioning, all the things that we have been sharing with all of you. This is what it has been. It's the conditioning from parents. It's the be polite, don't take, just say thank you
Be happy with
whenever
what
you're
you
getting.
have.
Yeah, exactly. Independence. I can do it on my own. Heart walls. I mean, it's all these things that have built up over the period of time. But what's cool about the work that we do in Say Yes to Soul and with this clearing is that we are actually going to be releasing the root of where this actually came from, like the limiting belief that is preventing us from having this capacity to hold wealth, right? To get us to that next level, which is literally, I say next level, but it's really just getting us back to who we always were and what we were born in this world with. It's that
Hmm.
purity part of things. So I'm excited because we're going to be clearing and releasing the conditioning around the relationship that we have to actually holding wealth, not the generating, totally different, but holding, the holding of wealth to be able to receive it, hold it, and circulate it.
Yes, in the physical body.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So what becomes possible whenever we do this is like, holy cow, I can't imagine. Like I always say this because we're going to be creating new reference points. And so I sit here and I'm like, I am really excited to be grounded in this receiving. Like
Hmm.
to actually be grounded and anchored into it. Because one of the things, like when I receive something, I'm always surprised. I'm
Yeah.
always just like, oh my gosh. And you know this because I always will tell you. Like if I get a refund on something, or I'm always like, you're the first person I tell. I'm like, oh my gosh, this just happened. Wealth consciousness is great. But I'm always like, it's a surprise instead of a, yeah, I'm worthy and deserving. It like the autopilot program that's running is this whole like, oh, this doesn't happen to me. Happens to everybody else, but it doesn't happen to me. So I'm excited to be grounded in that.
And oh, let me ask you this. So, where in your physical body and what does it actually feel like when you receive something and you feel surprised?
Mm.
Like where do you feel that in your body?
Uh, all over,
Mhm.
like all over. I can't even just pinpoint it. Like I really can't. It is literally one of those like, it's working. You know this because I send you the messages. Oh my gosh, it's working. This
Mhm.
integration is working. It was that
Um,
easy. I didn't even have to ask for it. They just gave it to me.
yeah, I know because actually that's why I'm asking the question because it was actually a recent conversation that we had and you were like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so surprised." And then you were like, "But I felt constriction." And I just wondered if there was any specific spot. So, just like your entire body.
My entire body. Yeah. My entire body was that. But it was really in that situation, that was a visibility thing. Now that I think about it, now that we're talking about all of this,
In
because
what
I
way?
because I didn't have to say anything. That's why I was so excited. I'm like, all I did was call the billing department and then they saw it all. I didn't even have to say why I was calling. I literally told them my name and my date of birth, and then they fixed it all for me, even more than I even thought like what I thought would happen. And I literally didn't have to say anything.
Okay, so that's really interesting because the visibility wasn't about you specifically. It was about what they were able to see.
Yeah,
Okay, share more about that. That's interesting.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to contemplate it because honestly, that's what it was. I guess I'll just share the story so that I'd love to hear other people's, comments about this,
Mhm.
especially if you're into wealth consciousness. But it's like, yeah, I was told I owed money on a bill and I was getting sent to a bill collection agency, and I was like, what? This is like, huh? One of those.
Mhm.
What? This is not okay. So then I call, and that's literally all I said. They just said, I said I needed the billing department. They said, what's your name and date of birth? And then all of a sudden they went, okay. Well, we see some things here. And I thought they were going to tell me that they had like sent my name off to something. I didn't say anything. I just sat there and just sat there because they said, hold on a minute, just hold on a minute while we look at this. And anyway, they kept like talking it through with like other people on the other end. And I literally was just that. And then they came back and said, that there was a mistake. They're like, it looks like you paid your bill, but we didn't actually put it through onto your thing. And so then they started profusely apologizing. It was one of those things. And I was like, oh no, this is like better than I even expected. I ended up getting a credit, like a huge credit. Well, I guess it wasn't a huge. I thought, see, look at this. I'm all huge
Mhm.
credit, even though it really wasn't huge. But to me, I'm like, oh, I ended up getting credit.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love this.
So that's a real time example of the body resisting and the autopilot being on, the autopilot programming. So, yeah, this is really exciting because I'm excited to be able to do more rest like that, right? Have the support and then also the ease.
Yeah, and just expect that it's coming because we are magnetizing it. It is already there. It's already available right now, and it is our birthright.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm excited for wealth to stay.
Yes. Yes.
Uh,
Mhm.
Oh, I was gonna say, is there anything else you wanted to share? I think you had a really good reflection when we were preparing for this. There was a really good question actually that had me contemplating so much.
Yeah, so I have the question right here. I'm just going to read it off. And this is just for everybody. And we're also going to be contemplating this question as well. But if the wealth that you've been calling in arrived today, what part of your body would need to feel safer, stronger, softer, or more supported in order to fully receive it? So, this is all about the embodiment process and being able to hold that capacity. We have to be able to identify what we're feeling in the body in order to be able to start to release it. Again, it's going back to those densities. So, I love that reflection as well.
Yeah. Even that's just such an invitation, just as we're moving throughout our day, just reflecting on that and going, what part of our body, like every single time that there's like receiving of anything, compliments, money,
Mm-hmm.
support, whatever, and going,
An
okay, what
act of
part of my
service.
body is restricting right now or resisting, right? Resisting it. Because the body
Mm-hmm.
talks to us. That's why I love working with the physical body as well. It speaks to us.
1000%.
Yeah, constantly. Okay. Was there anything else that you wanted to share on this?
Like, subscribe, and share for sure.
Hmm. Yes, please do. Okay, so in July, we are starting this new series. Right now, at the time of recording, we're about a week out. So in July, we're starting the new series in Say Yes to Soul. We're clearing the limiting beliefs around holding wealth in all five bodies. And we're going to start with the physical body. So I'm excited because we're going to see a ton of movement. We're going to see weight, weight start to shed. I mean, we're going to start to feel things open up, like the lightness, because right now it feels pretty dense to me too. So we'll be able to start to feel a lightness. We're going to start to feel things opening up, pathways, like surprising pathways as we begin to now see things on the physical plane, like come into fruition. We're going to get really clear on it and we're going to start to actually do the actions, right? With our integration, we'll be
Mhm.
doing the actions to actually start to manifest all of this onto the physical plane. So we would love to have you join us. You can actually use code. What is it? Code. I have to look. Code say
Say
yes.
yes.
Yeah. Code say yes for $10 off your first month. We would love to join you or love for you to join us. Things are recorded. So if you don't make it to the live event, don't worry. Like we have a whole client portal with all the things that you'll need. And we'll be integrating all of it together in our private chat. So excited for this one.
Yes, me too. It's going to be so good. So good, so good. Join us.
Hey, till next time. Bye.
Bye.
And live your life today.